All right, class. First off, as always, good day. I'm glad you're here. So, today's lesson is going to be about the attack of the Nazis against the Russians, particularly one battle called Stalingrad. Now, last time, um, we last lesson, we talked about how the Germans and Russians basically had a mutual agreement of you don't attack me, I won't attack you. And once Hitler couldn't take over Britain, he decided to attack Russia and break that agreement. Okay, so that actually ties in with uh, our warm up picture. Okay, so again, we're going to analyze the Battle of Stalingrad. So here it is, as you can see, right? Now, there's a quote that says, "There are no friends when it comes to playing cards and in politics." So, my question to you do you think that's true? Specifically, the politics part. You know, these two guys, Stalin and Hitler, were, dictators and rulers of their own countries. And they basically made agreement because, again, like I said, they had that mutual um, agreement. They had that eye to eye of like, I see what kind of person you are, you see what kind of person I am. Let's agree not to attack each other. And then Hitler, as you see in this picture, he ends up backstabbing him. So, overall, do you think in politics there can't be any friends? You can't really like full fledged make an agreement with somebody and be like, yeah, they're gonna keep their end of the bargain. You know, what do you think? In your opinion, what do you believe? Okay, so think about it, write your response because we're moving on in three, two, one. All right, so one thing I realized is this: I've been talking about the Allies and Axis, and it dawned on me that I don't know if you guys know which countries are which and which side is which. So let's start off with that. The main Axis countries are Germany, Italy, and Japan. Those are the Axis. Now, there are other countries in those groups, but these are the main guys. Just like with the Allies, these are the main countries: England, America, and Russia. Now, other countries like France and Belgium and places like that will eventually join us, but these are the three main countries. Just like how the Axis three main countries are Germany, Italy, and Japan, the Allies' three main countries are England, America, and Russia. All right. So, August 7th, 1942, America and Japan land forces fight at the Battle of Guadalcanal. Now, it takes like 6 months to uh, come to a conclusion, and the U.S. wins that battle, but it cost them a lot. Because the thing is, the Japanese lost about 24,000 men, but the U.S. lost about 1,600 men. 4,200 were wounded, and there were several thousand men who died from tropic diseases alone. And just like I explained in the other classes, sorry about that. Sorry about that. I live right next to a fire station, so so yeah, the thing is, you have like I told the other classes, you have to remember, in the United States there are no tropic areas. We have desert, mountain ranges, flatland area, places that snow a lot, but we don't have tropic. So when these soldiers were in these tropical islands and they're getting bit by mosquitoes and stuff like that and little insects, those animals have diseases that our guys are not used to. So they got sick quite a bit, and things like that. Some guys would, they're drinking water. If it's raining, hey, take their canteen, hold it next to a leaf so that the water drains into it. Thing is, there's a lot of animals that go through there, and they go to the restroom wherever they're at, and a lot of times, like birds and things like that, their droppings will fall on those leaves. So when it rains, that rainwater's collecting some of that poo, and these guys end up drinking it and it gets them sick. Okay. So the Battle of Stalingrad begins. Now, Stalin thought Hitler was going to try to attack Moscow, the Russian, like their biggest city and stuff. Instead, Hitler decides, why go for Moscow when there's this place called Stalingrad, closer. Now, the thing is, Stalingrad served multiple purpose for Hitler. Number one thing is it's the industrial center of Russia. There's a ton of factories there. They're building, you know, cars and guns and things like that. So he figures if we take out this town, we can take over the factories, and Russia won't have that many factories left to make weapons and vehicles and whatever they need for the war. The other thing is there's a major river going right near Stalingrad. So if they control the city, they control the river, and then they can send their troops faster instead of having them walk or driving car. Now they can go use the river and send troops wherever they want to. And lastly, um, just the irony that Stalin named this city after himself, and yet he can't defend it. you know and that was the kind of thing that Hitler wanted to try to show the Russian people, like, hey, this guy named this town after him, he can't even defend it, we took it over, how you like them apples, type of thing. So after a while, the Russians realized, wait, he's not coming to Moscow, he's heading towards Stalingrad. And then it dawns on them the importance of that city. So Stalin sends all kinds of troops down there to protect it. And basically, Hitler sends a message to all the people in Stalingrad telling them, if you're a man fighting against us, we will kill you. If you're a woman fighting against us one way or another, you are going to be deported to Germany, and you'll probably be working in the camps, or doing something for us. Okay, but we're keeping you. Now, Stalin then sends a message to the people of Stalingrad, and he basically told them, if you're strong enough to hold a rifle, you're strong enough to shoot it, and now your job is to defend the city. So there were some, like, kids, we're talking like 12 years old, who were with the gun fighting against the Nazis in Stalingrad. Okay. So August 23rd, 1942, it begins, the Battle of Stalingrad, and the Germans start attacking. So, in the previous lessons, we talked about how the Germans used the Blitzkrieg, the really fast attack, to basically take over areas quickly, win battles quickly, and basically dominate all of Europe. Well, they tried that with the Russians, but it really didn't work too well, I should say. Um, the Russian forces actually slowed them down, and they were basically pushing back and forth, back and forth. The Russians were getting pushed back a little bit more than they were pushing against the Nazis. So the Russians lost about 200,000 men, and Stalin basically gives an order and tells people, "Okay, everyone in Stalin, start loading up this train with the food that you guys have in town. Bring all the food, bring on the food." So people were bringing the food that they had, their drinks and some of that, things of wine. They put it in the train, and there goes the train, leaving Stalingrad. So some of the Russian people were like, "Okay, so where's our train?" And Stalin's like, "What train? There's no train coming for you. You guys are staying back there in Stalingrad." The reason they did this was to kind of, in a way, inspire the troops to fight harder. Like, hey, these people are depending on you now. They have no food. You know, they got the Nazis right in front of you guys. You gotta fight for them. So, did it really inspire them? Maybe, maybe not. It's hard to say. Now, while this is going on, the German Luftwaffe, which is their air force, started coming in and dropping bombs on the city and stuff like that. So the city was getting destroyed, pretty much, um, by the Nazis. Okay, And it's because of this, tens of thousands of civilians were captured by the Nazis. And I know, like I said earlier in the notes, the Nazis told them, hey, if you fight against us, we're going to kill you if you're a guy. Well, they really didn't kill them. They just did like what they told they were going to do with the women. They put them on trains and they sent them down to Germany to basically be slave labor in Germany. Now, factory workers in Stalingrad were still in the factories. The Nazis hadn't got there yet to them. And these guys were basically making weapons, you know, and then they were told, okay, stop making weapons. You need to fight. And a lot of those workers were like, well, if we're going to fight, we need to work. And they're like, why? Why do you need to work for? They're like, because we don't have weapons. So in order for us to fight, we need to make some weapons for us. you know and this is the thing I was telling the classes, that people have this preconceived notion that everyone back in the day had a gun. Everybody had a gun. No, that's not the case. And this is a clear cut example that not every citizen around the world had guns. Okay, so yeah, so while those guys are fighting, the women were given orders to dig trenches. Not just one, but like several. So they dig a trench here, dig a trench there, dig a trench there. And they were basically told, okay, so if the Nazis start coming and pushing the Russian soldiers back, they could fall back to this trench. And if the Nazis kept coming, this way, they could then go to this trench and fight the Nazis as the Nazis come towards more closer to them. Now, because the German or the Russians kept getting pushed back, 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 Stalin is getting really upset. He's like, "Why are we getting pushed back for? Why aren't they fighting against the Nazis?" And he's being told they are, but they just retreat. They keep retreating, and so he basically says, "Okay, I'm writing down this order, Order 227, not a step back," and basically sends out to his commanders, telling them basically, this is it. Nobody gets behind you. If anyone tries to, leave or, oh, let's retreat, no. They're going to face a trial and they might get executed. In reality, basically, they were told, if you go behind me, if you try to run away, we will kill you. So, what would you rather do? Turn around, try to run away, and get shot and killed? Or would you rather fight against the Nazis? And chances are you might live, but you got to fight. So, a lot of these Russians didn't go back. They basically put their feet in the ground and started going against the Nazis and pushing back. And they did a counterattack to the Nazis. And this was known as Operation Uranus. And this would happen in late November of that same year. The Russians were able to sweep around and capture 300,000 German soldiers. Now, they were feeling good, like, heck yeah, yeah, right. Now, here's where things get interesting. In November, this is when the Russian winter really starts to kick in. And if you have been in my class in previous lessons, you've heard me mention the Russian winters, how bad they are. And for those of you guys who haven't been with me here that lecture, those Russian winters are freezing cold, and we're talking feet of snow a day easily, you know. And the Russians are used to it. Other people around the world are not. And it's because of that winter that supply lines were cut off. Roads were filled with so much snow that trucks for like we had food, ammunition, some of that couldn't make it to Stalingrad. And even planes who try to fly in the air were getting hit with the snow and the hard wind and some of that. And, it caused problems for the airplanes, you know. So what ends up happening is now it's getting colder and colder. These Nazi soldiers are don't have like thick jackets. when they started fighting in Stalingrad, it was still pretty warm. If you remember, when they started, it was still in August. That's like summertime. So these guys did not come with thick jackets and stuff like that for that really tough, harsh winter. And so some guys started to freeze to death. Some guys were starving. They're running out of ammunition. And they send message back, hey, we need supplies. We need food. We need ammunition. We need warm clothing, blankets, something. So Hitler, knowing his men are trapped, starving, low on supplies, basically says, we'll get that to you guys soon. We don't know when. But don't surrender. Don't surrender. Keep fighting. And these Nazis are like, keep fighting with what? You want us to use sticks and stones? Use harsh language? What the heck? You know? So, yeah. On February 1943, the Russian troops captured nearly 100,000 Russian Nazi soldiers. Um, and as you can see in that top picture, that's a picture of the Nazi soldiers being captured by the Russians. Uh, Now, most of those 100,000 people, by the time the war ended, they would die. A lot of them. They would die in the prison camps in Russia, and those prison camps were harsh, pretty bad treatment. Again, the Russians basically treated the Nazis like, "Hey, you think you're all chingon? You think you're all bad? We know what you treat, how you treat other people. So guess what? We're treating you that way." And a lot of them died, starvation, disease, you know, beatings, things like that. So yeah. So the Battle of Stalingrad ends up going into the way of the Russians. They win that battle. And this is the first like failure that was publicly acknowledged in the war. This is the first time that the Germans on the newspaper, Germany lose the Battle of Stalingrad. It's the first time you hear that. They lose a battle. Whoa. So some people believe this is when the tide of the war starts to change. Some people believe it's later on. Okay. So when we're all finished with World War II, you can make up your own mind and when the tide of the war started to change. When did it change from the Nazis kicking everyone's butt to the Nazis losing all these battles? Okay. Now the problem is this: the Russians are now pushing the Nazis back. The Nazis have to worry about the British. So now they have the war going on two sides of them. Okay. Now, back in October 1942, Operation Torch was conducted and Britain had intercepted Germans in North Africa because they're trying to enter the Middle East. They need oil. Now, the Nazis could have easily bought the oil, but Hitler, being the guy who's like, well, I could just conquer everywhere, figured, well, why buy the oil when we could conquer the land that has the oil? Why pay for it when you can get it basically for free? So he's going towards the Middle East. Britain decides we're going to go to North Africa and try to stop them, and they get backup from the United States. So on January 14th through the 24th, 1943, at the Casablanca Conference in French Morocco, FDR and Churchill, FDR is the President of the United States, and Churchill is the Prime Minister of Britain, they basically come to an agreement that the only type of surrender they'll take from the Axis group is an unconditional surrender, meaning they have to quit completely, get out of the war completely. Um, that's the only way they'll accept the surrender. You so that's what they came up with. So on February 19th through the 25th, the American troops are tested basically for the first time in Africa against the German Panzer Division. The German Panzer are their tanks, and their tanks were amazing, truly amazing. There's such a huge difference between the tanks of World War One for Germany and the tanks for World War Two. It's like paper and rock, total difference. Now, this guy you see in that picture right there, that is the German Field Marshal Erwin the Desert Fox Rommel. This guy was, besides Hitler, one of the most popular people in Germany. He was a proven soldier, warrior, general. You know, he was just revered. German people loved him, you know, and he went against the United States and Britain at Kasserine Pass. Okay. And he basically showed them that why he's good, why he's considered an expert in desert warfare. Okay. Now, May 12th, the Axis power surrender in Tanzania. Basically, what happens is the United States brings their own general who's a like history lover of war, and his name was George Patton. And George Patton was one of those people who, again, like I said, was a student of history and knew a battle happened in this area. This is how this side won. This is why this side lost. Um, this is how the losing side could have won. So he has a strategic mind, and he knows a lot about war and stuff like that. So against Rommel, even though Rommel was really good, really really good, Patton was a little bit better. Now they basically kicked the Germans out of uh, North Africa. So now the North Africa belongs to the Allies. So they end up going towards Sicily in Italy. So on July 10th, the Allied forces land in Sicily. They're chasing them, you know, and they basically now control the Mediterranean Sea. Okay. So once they get into Sicily, 9 days later, they bomb Rome, which a lot of Italian people were just like, oh my God, they're bombing Rome. Oh my gosh. Because they didn't think that was possible. The Italian soldiers and the Nazis were supposed to be these big badass soldiers, and now they're getting pushed back, and Rome is getting bombed. You know, so about 2 weeks later, the fascist Grand Council of Italy passes a vote of no confidence in their leader Benito Mussolini. Basically, they're kicking him out. That's what the vote of no confidence is. He is then arrested. He is hanged, and martial law is declared in Italy. Okay, so a couple months later, Italy officially surrenders to the Allies. They're like, okay, yeah, we're out of the war, we're done. When Germany heard about this, they were furious. They're basically looking at Italy like, how dare you get out of this war? You're on supposed to be on our side. You know what? If you're not on our side, we'll take over you like we've taken over everyone else. So they start attacking Germany. Or sorry about that. They start attacking Italy. Italy then goes, whoa, 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 whoa. You guys want to attack us? Fine. You know what? We're back in this war, but we're not on your side. We're on the Allied side. So they join America, Britain, and Russia in fighting the Nazis. So Italy declares war on Germany on October 6th, 1943. So that's it for this lesson. So hopefully you learned something new. Hopefully you enjoyed this lesson. So you guys, you take care, you be safe, and again, if when you're in class, be sure you're finishing up your project. Okay, um, that's a really big, a lot of points. A lot of points on that one. So be sure you get that done. Okay, you guys take care, you be safe, and I'll see you guys later. Okay.